What if your morning tea could decide whether you walk confidently into your 70s or struggle to climb a single flight of stairs? Most people believe that weakness after 60 is inevitable, that frail legs and tired muscles are simply the price of aging. But what if everything you have been told about growing older is incomplete? What if the solution to regaining strength has been sitting in your kitchen all along, waiting to be transformed into something powerful? What if the very ritual you perform every single morning, that simple cup of tea, could become the most important decision you make for your health, your independence, and your future? My name is Dr. Barbara O'Neill, and for decades I have worked with aging individuals who thought their bodies had given up on them. I have seen people in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s reverse what they believed was permanent decline. I have watched them rebuild muscle, restore balance, and reclaim the independence they thought was lost forever. I have sat with patients who could barely walk across a room and watched them transform into individuals who hike, garden, travel, and play with their grandchildren without pain or limitation. The truth is that your body is not failing you. It is simply waiting for the right support, the right fuel, and the right strategy to come alive again. Your muscles are not gone. They are dormant, waiting for the signal to rebuild and grow stronger. Let me tell you about Margaret. She was 68 years old when she first walked into my office, and I could see the defeat in her eyes before she even spoke. Her legs trembled slightly as she lowered herself into the chair, gripping the armrests for support as if they were the only things keeping her upright. She told me that she used to garden every morning, walk 3 miles without thinking twice, and chase her grandchildren around the yard with endless energy. But over the past few years, everything had changed. Simple tasks like carrying groceries from the car to the kitchen or getting out of the bathtub had become exhausting struggles that left her breathless and afraid. She had started avoiding stairs because the thought of climbing them filled her with anxiety. She had stopped visiting friends because she was embarrassed by how slow she had become. She spent most of her days sitting in her living room, watching life pass by through the window because standing and moving felt too difficult and too painful. Margaret told me she had tried everything. She had bought expensive supplements that promised to restore vitality and energy. She had followed diets designed specifically for seniors, cutting out foods she loved in hopes of feeling stronger and more capable. She had even joined a senior exercise program at the community center, forcing herself to attend classes twice a week, despite the pain and exhaustion. But every session left her feeling more defeated than before. Her muscles ached for days after each class. Her legs felt weaker instead of stronger. The other participants seemed to be thriving, laughing and chatting as they completed exercises that left Margaret struggling just to keep up. She was beginning to believe that her body had simply reached its limit, that this was her new reality, and that nothing she did could ever change it. She was losing hope, and I could see it written across her face. I asked her a simple question that day. I said, "Margaret, what is the first thing you do every single morning without fail?" She looked at me, confused by the question, and said, "I drink tea. I have had a cup of tea every morning for 40 years. It is the one part of my routine I have never changed, no matter what else is happening in my life." I smiled because I knew in that moment that we had found the key. Margaret did not need to abandon her tea. She did not need another complicated program or another bottle of pills that would sit unused in her cabinet. She just needed to transform that daily cup of tea into a muscle rebuilding, strength restoring, life-changing ritual that would work with her body instead of against it. I told Margaret that her body was experiencing something called sarcopenia, a condition that most people have never even heard of, despite the fact that it affects millions of aging adults around the world. Sarcopenia is the gradual loss of muscle mass and strength that begins after the age of 30 and accelerates dramatically after 60. Every decade without intervention, the average person loses between 3 and 5% of their muscle mass. That might not sound like much when you hear it, but over 20 or 30 years, it adds up to a devastating decline that affects every aspect of your life. Muscles shrink, legs weaken, balance deteriorates, and suddenly tasks that once felt effortless become monumental challenges that require planning and assistance. But sarcopenia is not just about losing strength in your arms and legs. It affects every system in your body in ways that most people do not realize until it is too late. When you lose muscle, your metabolism slows down significantly, making it easier to gain weight and harder to burn fat, even if you are eating less than you used to. Your bones become more fragile because muscles provide critical support to your skeletal system, and without that support, your risk of fractures and breaks increases dramatically. Your balance suffers because your muscles are responsible for keeping you stable and upright, and when they weaken, falls become more likely. Those falls can lead to fractures, hospitalizations, long recovery periods, and a terrifying loss of independence that many people never fully recover from. Sarcopenia is not just an inconvenience. It is a silent thief that steals your quality of life one day at a time, and most people do not even realize it is happening until they have already lost so much. The good news. The news that I shared with Margaret that day is that sarcopenia is not a life sentence. Your muscles can rebuild at any age if you give them the right tools, the right nutrients, and the right consistency. Science has shown us again and again that muscle growth is possible well into your 80s and 90s as long as you provide your body with what it needs. And that is where Margaret's tea came in. I told her that we were going to take her morning ritual, the one thing she did every single day without fail, and turn it into a science-backed strategy to reverse muscle loss, restore strength, and bring her body back to life. I explained that we would be adding 8 specific ingredients to her tea, each one carefully chosen for its ability to support muscle growth, reduce inflammation, improve energy, and accelerate recovery. Margaret was skeptical at first. She looked at me with doubt in her eyes and said, "Dr. O'Neill, I have tried so many things over the years. I have spent so much money on supplements and programs that promise to help. How can tea possibly make a difference when nothing else has worked?" I told her that this was not just about tea. It was about consistency, about giving her body the right nutrients every single day without fail, and about working with her existing habits instead of against them. She did not need to overhaul her entire life. She did not need to spend hours in a gym or follow a complicated meal plan. She just needed to upgrade what she was already doing, and that made all the difference in the world. The first ingredient I told Margaret to add was cinnamon. Cinnamon is not just a spice that makes tea taste warm and comforting. It is a powerful tool for stabilizing blood sugar levels, which is absolutely critical for muscle growth and overall health. When your blood sugar spikes and crashes throughout the day, your body struggles to build muscle because it is too busy managing inflammation and insulin resistance. Those constant fluctuations keep your body in a stressed state where muscle breakdown happens faster than muscle growth. Cinnamon helps smooth out those spikes, keeping your energy steady and your body in a muscle-building state instead of a muscle-breaking state. I told Margaret to add half a teaspoon of cinnamon to her tea every morning, and she would immediately start giving her body a more stable foundation for strength and recovery. The second ingredient was cocoa powder. Most people think of cocoa as something you add to desserts or sweet treats, but raw cocoa powder is packed with flavonoids that improve blood flow and reduce inflammation throughout your entire body. Better blood flow means more oxygen and nutrients reaching your muscles, which helps them recover faster and grow stronger after any kind of activity. I told Margaret to add 1 teaspoon of unsweetened cocoa powder to her tea. It would give her tea a rich, slightly earthy flavor while supporting her cardiovascular health and muscle repair. She could adjust the amount based on her taste preferences, but even a small amount would provide significant benefits. The third ingredient was coconut oil or MCT oil. Healthy fats are essential for muscle growth because they provide long-lasting energy and help your body absorb fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin D, which is critical for muscle function and bone health. Coconut oil contains medium-chain triglycerides, which are fats that your body can quickly convert into energy without storing as fat. Unlike other fats that take hours to digest and can make you feel sluggish, MCTs are absorbed rapidly and used immediately for fuel. They bypass the normal digestion process and go straight to your liver, where they are converted into ketones that your brain and muscles can use for energy. I told Margaret to add 1 teaspoon of coconut oil or MCT oil to her tea. It would give her sustained energy throughout the morning and support her body's ability to build and maintain muscle tissue. She could start with half a teaspoon if she was not used to consuming fats and gradually increase the amount as her body adjusted. Some people experience digestive upset when they first start using MCT oil, so starting slowly is important. The energy boost from MCT oil is clean and sustained, without the jittery feeling that comes from caffeine or sugar. The fourth ingredient was full-fat milk or a protein-rich creamer. Many seniors avoid fat because they have been told for years that fat is bad for them, that it will clog their arteries and cause health problems. But the truth is that full-fat dairy provides both protein and calories, which are essential for muscle growth, especially in aging adults who often struggle to consume enough of either. Your muscles need protein to repair and rebuild after activity, and they need calories to fuel that process. Without enough calories, your body will break down muscle for energy instead of building it up. This is one of the biggest mistakes that aging adults make. They eat less because they are less active, but eating less means their body does not have the fuel it needs to maintain muscle. I told Margaret to replace water with half a cup of full-fat milk or a high-quality protein creamer. This simple swap would add 15 to 20 grams of protein to her morning routine, giving her muscles the raw material they needed to grow stronger day by day. If she was lactose intolerant or preferred plant-based options, she could use a high-protein almond milk, coconut milk, or oat milk that had been fortified with protein. The key was ensuring that whatever she added contained at least 10 grams of protein per serving. The fifth ingredient was collagen powder. Collagen is the most abundant protein in your body, and it plays a critical role in maintaining the health of your joints, tendons, ligaments, and connective tissues. As you age, your body produces less collagen naturally, which is why joints become stiff, recovery takes longer, and injuries become more common. Adding collagen powder to tea helps support joint health, reduce inflammation, improve mobility, and speed up recovery after any kind of physical activity. Collagen is particularly important for aging adults because it helps maintain the integrity of the structures that support your muscles. You can have strong muscles, but if your joints and tendons are weak, you will still struggle with movement and pain. I told Margaret to add 1 scoop of collagen powder to her tea every morning. It would dissolve completely without changing the taste, and she would not even notice it was there, but her body would feel the difference within weeks. Her joints would move more smoothly, her muscles would recover faster, and she would feel less pain and stiffness throughout the day. I recommended using hydrolyzed collagen peptides, which are broken down into smaller particles that are easier for your body to absorb and utilize. She could choose collagen sourced from grass-fed beef, wild-caught fish, or even plant-based collagen boosters if she preferred. The 6th ingredient was whey protein powder. Whey protein is one of the most effective supplements for building muscle because it is quickly absorbed by the body and contains all 9 essential amino acids in the exact ratios your muscles need. These amino acids are the building blocks of muscle tissue, and without them, your body cannot repair damage or grow stronger, no matter how much effort you put in. What makes whey protein particularly valuable is its high concentration of leucine, an amino acid that acts as a trigger for muscle protein synthesis. When leucine enters your bloodstream, it sends a signal to your muscles that it is time to start rebuilding and growing. I told Margaret to add 1 scoop of whey protein powder to her tea. It would increase the protein content even further, ensuring that her muscles had everything they needed to rebuild and grow. She could choose a flavor that complemented her tea, like vanilla or unflavored, so it blended seamlessly into her morning routine. If she was sensitive to dairy, she could use whey protein isolate, which has most of the lactose removed, or she could substitute a high-quality plant-based protein powder that contained all 9 essential amino acids, such as a blend of pea protein and rice protein. The 7th ingredient was turmeric combined with black pepper. Turmeric contains a compound called curcumin, which is one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory substances found in nature. Chronic inflammation is one of the main drivers of muscle loss, joint pain, and overall decline as you age. Reducing inflammation is essential for muscle recovery and growth because inflammation breaks down muscle tissue faster than your body can repair it. When inflammation is high, your body is in a constant state of damage control and it cannot focus on building new muscle. However, curcumin is not well absorbed by the body on its own, which is why black pepper is absolutely critical. Black pepper contains piperine, a compound that increases the absorption of curcumin by up to 2,000%. Without black pepper, most of the curcumin you consume passes through your digestive system without being absorbed. I told Margaret to add half a teaspoon of turmeric and a pinch of black pepper to her tea every morning. This combination would help reduce inflammation throughout her body, ease joint pain, and accelerate muscle recovery after any kind of activity. She could adjust the amount of turmeric based on her taste preferences, though I warned her that turmeric has a strong, slightly bitter flavor that some people find challenging at first. Starting with a smaller amount and gradually increasing, it can help your taste buds adjust. The 8th and most important ingredient was the tea itself. I told Margaret to choose a high-quality tea that she genuinely enjoyed, whether it was black tea, green, white tea, or herbal tea. The key was consistency and enjoyment. If she loved the taste, she would drink it every single day without feeling like it was a chore, and that daily consistency was what would transform her body over time. Tea provides antioxidants that fight free radical damage, hydration that supports every system in your body, and a sense of ritual that makes the entire process feel nourishing and comforting rather than clinical and forced. Different teas offer different benefits. Green tea is rich in catechins that support fat burning and muscle preservation. Black tea contains theaflavins that support cardiovascular health. White tea is the least processed and contains the highest concentration of antioxidants. Herbal teas like rooibos or chamomile offer calming properties that reduce stress, and stress reduction is critical for muscle growth because chronic stress elevates cortisol, a hormone that breaks down muscle tissue. I explained to Margaret exactly how to prepare her muscle rebuilding tea every single morning. She would brew her tea as usual, letting it steep until it reached her preferred strength. Then she would add the 8 ingredients one by one in a specific order to ensure everything mixed properly. She would start by stirring in the cinnamon and cocoa powder while the tea was still hot, allowing them to dissolve completely. Then she would add the coconut oil or MCT oil, followed by the milk or protein creamer, stirring well to create a smooth, creamy texture. Next, she would add the collagen powder and whey protein, stirring vigorously to ensure everything dissolved smoothly without clumps. A small handheld frother or blender bottle can be incredibly helpful at this stage to ensure a smooth, lump-free texture. Finally, she would add the turmeric and black pepper, giving it one last stir before drinking it slowly and mindfully, savoring each sip and allowing her body to absorb the nutrients. I told her to take at least 10 to 15 minutes to drink her tea. Sitting down in a comfortable chair, breathing deeply, and setting a positive intention for the day ahead. This mindful approach helps activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which improves digestion and nutrient absorption. I told Margaret not to rush the process or try to add everything at once. She did not need to add all 8 ingredients on the first day or even the first week. She could start with 3 or 4 ingredients and gradually add the rest over the course of a week or 2 as her body adjusted and she became comfortable with the routine. The goal was to make this sustainable, to turn it into a habit that felt natural and enjoyable rather than overwhelming and complicated. I also told her to never drink this tea on an empty stomach. She should always have a small piece of fruit or a handful of nuts before drinking it to ensure that her body absorbed the nutrients properly and that her blood sugar remained stable throughout the morning. Drinking high-protein, high-fat beverages on an empty stomach can sometimes cause nausea or digestive discomfort. So having a small amount of food first primes your digestive system and prepares it to handle the nutrient-dense tea. Margaret left my office that day with a plan, a detailed list of ingredients, and a flicker of hope returning to her eyes for the first time in years. 3 months later, she walked back into my office, and I barely recognized her. She was standing taller, moving with confidence, and smiling in a way I had not seen before. She told me that within the first month, she had noticed small but significant changes. Her legs felt less shaky when she stood up. Her energy improved throughout the day instead of crashing in the afternoon. She was able to stand for longer periods without needing to sit down and rest. By the second month, she was walking around her neighborhood again, something she had not done in years. She started with short walks around the block and gradually increased the distance as her strength returned. By the third month, she was back in her garden, planting flowers and pulling weeds without pain or exhaustion. She was playing with her grandchildren again, bending down to tie their shoes and chasing them around the yard without fear of falling. She had even started volunteering at her local community center, helping other seniors who were struggling with the same challenges she had faced just a few months earlier. Margaret told me that the transformation was not just physical. She said that regaining her strength had given her back her confidence, her independence, and her joy. She was no longer afraid of losing her ability to care for herself. She was no longer worried about becoming a burden to her family. She was traveling to visit friends in other states, something she had stopped doing because she was afraid of managing airports and train stations. She was living the life she thought she had lost forever, and it all started with a simple decision to upgrade her morning tea. She said that her body had not been failing her, it had just been waiting for the right support. And that cup of tea every morning had given her body exactly what it needed to rebuild, recover, and thrive. The science behind what Margaret experienced is clear and well documented. Sarcopenia is reversible when you combine the right nutrients with consistency and patience. Protein provides the building blocks for muscle tissue. Healthy fats provide energy and support hormone production. Anti-inflammatory compounds like turmeric reduce the chronic inflammation that breaks down muscle faster than it can rebuild. Collagen supports joint health and mobility, making movement easier and less painful. Blood sugar stabilizers like cinnamon keep your body in a muscle-building state instead of a muscle-breaking state. And when you deliver all of these nutrients together, every single day without fail, your body responds by rebuilding itself from the inside out. Margaret's story is not unique or rare. I have seen this transformation happen dozens of times with patients who were willing to take control of their health and commit to a simple daily ritual. The ingredients are not expensive or hard to find. The process is not complicated or time-consuming. The only requirement is consistency and patience. You do not need a gym membership or expensive equipment. You do not need to follow a restrictive diet that eliminates all the foods you love. You just need to take something you already do every single day, drinking tea, and turn it into a powerful tool for rebuilding strength and reclaiming independence. If you are reading this and you recognize yourself in Margaret's story, I want you to know that it is not too late for you. Your body is capable of remarkable things at any age. Your muscles can rebuild, your strength can return, your confidence can be restored. You do not have to accept weakness as an inevitable part of aging. You do not have to watch your independence slip away day by day. You have the power to change your trajectory, and it starts with a single decision to upgrade your morning tea and give your body the support it has been desperately asking for. I encourage you to start with just 1 or 2 ingredients and see how your body responds over the next few weeks. Maybe you begin with cinnamon and cocoa powder. Maybe you add coconut oil and milk. Maybe you work your way up to all 8 ingredients over the course of a month. The path does not matter as much as the commitment and consistency. What matters is that you show up for yourself every single day, that you give your body the support it has been asking for, and that you refuse to accept decline as your destiny. Your morning tea is not just a beverage. It is an opportunity. It is a chance to rebuild, to recover, and to reclaim the life you thought was slipping away. Margaret took that chance, and it changed everything for her. Now, it is your turn. Comment below and tell me which ingredient you are going to start with. Share this message with someone who needs to hear it, someone who is struggling with weakness and has started to lose hope. Subscribe so you can continue learning about simple, science-backed strategies that support healthy aging. Your body is not done yet. Your strength is waiting to return. And it all begins with what you put in your cup tomorrow morning.